city you burn, I'm gonna build one high.
Greetings, fellow Empyreans! It is April 11th, YC125. I am Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden, and it is the Eve Universe Show! Welcome, welcome, welcome. I was supposed to fix that before I turned it on. That's fine. We're fine. Alright, I wasn't really going to be showing too much of the actual gameplay, as it were, today. I kind of want to talk about some things, and I'm going to be a little bit more off the cuff than normal. I have notes, but I think that it's we have things that I'd like to discuss, thoughts I'd like to work through, and maybe have you guys see that and maybe even help. Who knows? So how is it going? Don't forget to like the stream as you come in. Share it around. Let's get people in here. Excuse me. All right. First of all, a bit of news. There is a mass test on Thursday. Hopefully we'll bring this up. By the way, let me know how this sounds. I keep trying to figure out exactly what the best placement is for my microphone. And like, do you come back to Twitch? They've literally never responded to me. I have no idea. And I've also never followed up with them, so probably not. I can't imagine a sequence of events that would get me to go back. This is the earliest I've been to one of your streams. Well, yeah, well, interestingly enough, I did actually start today at my normal, like, later time, because every time I start on Tuesday at my earlier time, people are like, show up and like, oh no, I'm late. And so I figured, like, I thought that getting that extra hour in would be beneficial, but ultimately, most of the time I still end up going for about the same amount of time. And I didn't want to stream an hour ago. No, just kidding. Yeah. Seriously, I have not had a single person ask me to go back to Twitch. I have had a lot of people thank me for leaving Twitch, of my viewers, but no one has been like, "Oh man, now you're not on Twitch. I can't watch you on the Twitch app. I loved watching you on the Twitch app." No, not that has never been said to me. I'm gonna have to get the YouTube app now. Just extend by an hour. The problem is I can't do that because when I cut off is based on when my son is coming home. That said, it did give me an extra hour to prepare for things. So, you know, there's that. How was everybody's weekend? Did everybody have a good Easter weekend? Did anybody find any rabbits? I remember one day I was staying at my friend's house, and on Easter morning, I got up and we were going outside to get ready for church or whatever, and there was literally a bunny in our driveway. I was like, well, that's a little on the nose. I don't know if we ever figured out what actually happened. I think we found the owner. I mean, it wasn't as coincidental as you'd think, right? Like, they just got a bunny and it just escaped. I saw a thing saying parents teach their kids that the Easter rabbit lays egg. No, Cadbury cream egg commercials teaches kids that rabbits lay eggs. I mean, that's fair. Doesn't... Oh, yeah. Never mind. I was like, doesn't YouTube have it for the paid version? But yeah, yep, free. Got it. Tracking. Either way. So yesterday I went out and I decided that I wanted to do like my full thing where I like had my Synesis with me and I'd go out and I'd hack a bunch of sites deep in the back lines, and I wanted to see how long I'd be out there. Found the first 2 sites in Nitoros. No, sorry. Nisua. And I got done hacking about the 2nd or 3rd can when I saw the comet. So I burned off, way off. The comet shows up. I kill the rats in hoping that like the next wave would spawn and he wouldn't be able to handle them. Maybe I could even like send in my drones to help out. I actually did send in my drones. I tried to kite him out and send in my drones, but he smartly like just started defanging me, so that wasn't going to work. So he chases me around for a while and then finally gives up and warps off. By that point, a second comet that I to this day do not know whether or not they were related. But the second comet comes in. By that point, the extra wave had spawned, gets caught up in that, kills a few of them, and then he warps off. And then the first comet comes back. Like, I'm circling back around to get the hacking can. This is where I get greedy, okay? I just got away from being got twice. And here I am, staying in the same system, in the same site, knowing that they're there. So at this point, I deserved exactly what I got. So, at any rate, the comet then shows back up, the first one. And I already thought to myself that he was gone exactly like the amount of time it would take to dock up, refit, and whatever. And I was like, but I'm micro warp drive. I can overheat. That's fine. So, like, I'm going around and I'm kiting out the rats and I'm kiting him out. And he gets caught by the rats again. This time he gets caught by the rats because I kill the rats again when the second comet leaves. He gets caught by the rats, so I circle back around in order to kind of like try to get my drones in at 40 kilometers. And when I hit 50 kilometers, he hits 70 kilometers or 7 kilometers a second, and I go 3. So, like, that 50 kilometers vanished real fast, and he just got me. And I throw out my ECM drones, and I ECM'd him, and nope, that didn't work. He got me fair and square, and I was just like, in local, I was like, I knew I shouldn't have stayed. You know, like, I knew that you were coming back with something to counter me. Like, I don't know why, like, good on you or whatever. And he goes, or no, I said I just had to see it for myself. That's what it was. I was like, I was pretty sure you had a solution, but I just had to see it for myself. And he's like, sometimes you just got to go or got to know. And I'm like, nah, it's just sheer brashness in this case. So that's my Easter weekend story. But anyway, that the reason why I was so brash was because that was literally my first sight of the day. So I said, screw it. Actually, this was yesterday. Went back, docked up, got one of the new, the Flasher, the Fleet Thrashers fit that was made by Dutch Gunner, and or at least given to me by Dutch Gunner. I'm pretty sure he made it. This thing is beautiful, okay? Actually, let me show you this thing. This thing can solo the sites. I absolutely believe it. It can kite out their enemies, a lot of them, as it can go 1781 cold, 2510 hot. I mean, even if your enemy comes in, you're still an artillery thrasher, so you could swap into long-range ammo and just snipe them out at range. You are not cap stable, so you do need to use. Yeah, there is a cap thing where you have to juggle between your micro warp drive and your reps if you want to not have to use cap boosters, and if you're soloing, you're probably going to have to chew through cap boosters. But the awesome thing about this is that not only can it solo the sites, but it's got the triple salvage tackle 2s. These things are killer because it gives me 80% access difficulty bonus. That is smexy. So, this is a fun new tool. I still love the retribution, though. All right. Oh, I'll be honest with you. You know what? You know what I've been spending the last 2 days on? I'll be honest with you. Most of my last 3 days, 3 days. So, No Man's Sky got a new update, and it's called, I think it's, Interceptor update, and it added a lot of really cool things, and I have not had much time outside of that for the last, like, 2-3 days. I think it's, I think it's 3 days at this point. I've sort of lost track. So, sorry. But if you want to check out my No Man's Sky stuff, I can always show that off. Maybe. I don't know. I had some problems streaming that one when I tried to. Oh, yeah? You play No Man's Sky? Yeah. I'm pretty deep into the end game, but we also got a bunch of other people that just joined, too. Because there might be a 50% sale still going. I don't know. It might have been just the weekend. Hopefully not. Okay, so all that said, do you have something to say? No? Okay. Hey, Sean Bogard. Hey, No Man Cash. Thank you for that, my friend. I gotta say, you know, I came to this conclusion this weekend, okay? Because I constantly get asked, what do I think about Star Citizen? I've never played, actually, Star Citizen, and I haven't really looked into too deep into, like, the state it's at now, except for I hear from a lot of their fans that it's far more functional than people say it is, and I hear from a lot of people that are frustrated because of X, Y, or Z, right? Whatever. I want to basically stay as preserved from it until the developer says that it's ready, because until then it's kind of been an interesting experiment that I don't want to participate in. But my new conclusion is, in a universe in which No Man's Sky exists at this point, there is no reason for Star Citizen. Star Citizen is now a redundant game. If you like Star Citizen, but you're like, man, I want to just pay once and, like, be done and just constantly have things to do, like, just get No Man's Sky. It's 50% off. Message me. We'll hook up. I'll bring you to a planet. I've got tons of oxygen. I've got an oxygen planet. I've got a radion planet. I've got all the shit, right? Like, I make the stasis devices. Yeah. We'll hit it up. And the new interceptors, man. Oh my god. Hold on. Okay, hold on. I gotta show off. There are some people in here that are like, I'm tuning out now. All right, hold on. Where is it? No. Where is my Steam screenshot folder? Where's the Steam screenshot folder? My games? No. No. Damn it. All right, hold on. Oh, wait. I know what to do. Probably. Give me a second. My uploads. No. Hold on. Oh, I rebooted my computer. No. All right, well. You didn't come here for this. Can I find it real fast? No, of course not. Why would I do that? That'd be cool. That wouldn't work out. How did these get? Whatever, man. Diversion over. I'll post it on my YouTube when I find it. Okay, I have all of my ships laid out. They're amazing. I love it. Wait a minute. I have one more chance at doing this right. Bear with me. One more second. Not the content that you deserve, but the content you're getting right now. There it is. I found it. All right, and set the browser to the correct thing. There it is. So there's my ship collection. All right, now that I've shown it off. So yeah, the front line and the one directly behind the front line are all interceptors, which are the new ones that just came out. They're amazing. They hover. I love it. So yeah, hit me up if you want No Man's Sky content. I've also been looking into the lore of it, which is also interesting. All right, I digress. That's enough of that. I want to talk about Eve. We want to talk about what is your ship collection? I want to talk about Eve today, though, because a lot has happened. It's an A-wing. I guess it's kind of close to the Snowspeeder. It is from the latest. The latest expedition gives you that fighter and a mask that looks strikingly like Darth Vader. Anywho, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the faction warfare and whatnot. Now that we're past the expansion and it's all like we're there now, I think it's time to reflect both on, you know, the good and the bad, and more importantly, give some criticism or some thoughts as to what the next step could be in better dialing in faction warfare, some recommendations. But before we do, I do want to actually, so I know you all love reaction videos, and even better when I react to myself. So we're going to do it again. So this video, just to set it up a little bit, I had, like, on my stream, especially when we're just BSing or whatever, we fix things, right? We talk about a problem, we talk about the design of it, we work on a solution that we're happy with or whatever. So at that point, somebody suggested, now do faction warfare. And I don't know if they knew that they were activating like my ultimate trap card, but I had an answer for them. And I thought it was really interesting because this was made in January of 2022. So I knew that a faction warfare thing, well, I suspected that, I think, I don't know how much we knew that a faction warfare update was going to be that big back then. But either way, so no, I don't think so. But either way, so a year ago, before the announcements, this is what I was saying would fix faction warfare. Now do faction warfare? Oh, okay, good. Faction warfare, what faction warfare needs is what's called campaigns, right? So the problem with faction warfare, the thing that made faction warfare work was sieges, right? The idea that we're targeting this one place, and therefore all of the combat is focused there for a period of time. The other thing is that when I first joined faction warfare, when Aderon first joined faction warfare, we did because Inferno made it Vindicata. Thank you for joining us down the rabbit hole, Steve Online. So when we joined in Inferno, we did because like the Inferno changes made it interesting and we wanted to check it out. So we literally was like, oh, okay, we're going to check it out for 2 or 3 weeks. So we joined to check it out for 2 or 3 weeks. Aderon Robotics is still in faction warfare to this day, nearly 10 years later. So, you know, just getting people in the door. The problem is faction warfare. Okay, I want to talk about that a little bit. So obviously what I'm describing here is effectively what my suggestion was for many years for campaigns, which are similar to faction campaigns, but not quite. I'm going to describe it a little bit better in a little bit, but it's worth noting that like faction campaigns kind of fills this niche a little bit in the fact that it feels like there are things happening that focus on specific areas. But if you listen to what I'm talking about, you can see that like in some ways faction campaigns are different than what I had envisioned, i.e. they're kind of untethered from faction warfare. The previous faction campaign wasn't totally untethered from faction warfare, and I feel like people were confused because they thought they had to be in faction warfare to participate. And this time they kind of went the opposite. They completely made them like separate things outside of like where to go to get the sites. And I don't think that that works very well either, because I feel like they're like the whole, well, we'll listen to why I think that this campaign is a good idea, and we'll see how much faction campaigns match that.
Like, the barrier that people get when it comes to coming into faction warfare is the idea of like standings. Like, people get really afraid about the standings thing, and they don't really understand the mechanics. And you know, it's hard to understand where to go to get the correct content if you're from an outside perspective. So campaigns, basically, you know, the elections are coming up. So not really, but like, this is a scenario. The elections are coming up. Actually, this is my old scenario, so it's going to date it. You know, Roden is running for president of the Federation again. And in order to do so, you know, there's been a lot of criticism about his weak policies about the border. And so he launches a campaign to retake Intaki. For the next 2 to 3 weeks, Intaki and the constellation around it is the primary focus. All kills and plexes that are gone in there are worth twice as much as everywhere else. And at the end of the time, there will be a report that shows every single person's contribution, both in kills and an LP during that time. And afterwards, if the Caldari continue to own the Intaki system, then Ronan is embarrassed and somebody else is elected, thus permanently changing the history of EVE Online. And if we win, then Ronan is vindicated and becomes reelected and continues to become president of the Federation. Therefore, the lore is impacting the players are impacting the lore. People join faction warfare. We think of like the whole idea of faction warfare being it's per hour.
I want to stop right there again. So first of all, with as funny as the Intaki thing is, that isn't. I just see that as, I recognized Intaki for being super important, especially for like a faction's pride, especially since it's in the middle of the faction warfare zone. It was an easy pick for something important. Yeah, sell a safeguard. Oh, yep, that noted. Now, obviously, what we got was a little bit different, right? So we got a faction campaign that allowed our side of it in particular. It's actually worth noting. Let's actually tear apart the previous faction campaign a little bit, because we talk about the gate building side and all that sort of stuff. But the key here is that there is the technology event and the gate building event. The only thing is that the Amar Mimitar side ramped up where they were appearing as the transmuters turned on, whereas the Caldari and the Gallente side didn't even begin their research project until, I believe, around the same time. I don't know if it was just after, just before, or whatever, that the Caldari completed their Stargate. So we were working on a Stargate while they were working on the data thing. Now, the reason why this is important is because we had to bring the ore, everybody had to bring the ore to Othanoon. Othanoon is a low-sec system at the end of a low-sec pipe. It is easy to choke it off. And so they did successfully. And we were busy doing other things in the war zone. The Gallente militia as a whole had other objectives. So we basically defaulted on that one. And that's why they got a Stargate and we did not. However, when the data sites started showing up on the Gallente Caldari side, because the gate had already started, or the gate had already happened, and the Gallente militia as a whole had already kind of looked at the project, looked at the faction campaign, and said, well, this is not something that we're going to be able to impact, because we can't break through the Caldari. Therefore, there's basically like any effort that we put into it is effectively wasted. However, the data sites weren't that way. They were the same as the Amar and the Mimitar, where you had to pull them back to a different system to turn them in, right? And so the reason why I bring this up is because, you know, how the player base interprets these things is really, really important. But either way, because of those events, that influenced what happened, and as a consequence of that, the gate that was going to go to Othanoon now goes to Intaki. Now, would Celis Agard had invaded Intaki if we hadn't have done it? No. Or maybe. I don't know. But that Stargate wouldn't be there. I do know that. That particular Stargate would not connect there. I don't know what else that would mean. So, at the same time, there is less so, like, we get introduced to these 4 new characters. Well, not 4 new characters. 2 of them are old, 2 of them are new. We have the 4 commanders, right? Where? Yeah. We have the 4 military commanders. Hold on, let me pull this up. Oh yeah, there is a mass test on Thursday, so they're going to be checking out visual stuff and whatnot. So that means not only is that going to be something to pay attention to, but that also means that there's probably going to be something to look at on Sissy that day too, if not tomorrow. Either way, oh yeah, front lines. Fleet fight? What? So, you know, we have these 4 different characters, and the 2 new ones are this lady, whose name is currently eluding me. Man. Fiona, I think. Fiona something or other. Oh yeah, on the mass test. Yeah. Well, that's almost all mass tests end up with that, have that kind of instruction. And then this girl who, okay, names have fallen out of my head, so we're not going to get names today, unless I go here. Fiona Ravelli, I think is her name, the Gallente girl. Forina Ravelli. And is it Hakema Korigo? No. Oh, Haika Torigo. There it is. Haika Torigo. So either way, so they've established these 4 different characters, right? And they have taken command over their operations. So in my example, it reflects directly on the president. But in this case, it is reflecting directly on these commanders. So when the Caldari won and the Gallente didn't, the news said that Fiona had to go and report an answer for why things went went poorly. It was tense, like, you know, whatever. Meanwhile, Haika Torigo was promoted because she did a great job. Now, again, what is this going to mean in the long run? I'm not sure. But it's worth noting that CCP continues to put things into play that could go either way due to forces that we might control, right? So, like, if there's going to be a contention over the nullsec area that Caldari owns, it would make sense that they would agree that we would be the ones that fight that by the Militia War Powers Act or whatever. If... What? Shrek's wife? So... My point is that I feel like they're basically trying to do this, where they're weaving the lore and player action, but I think that they are still not quite hitting it, right? Because while the lore is kind of recognizing this guy's winning, this guy's losing, I still don't feel like we're part of a unit yet, right? I don't like there's a lack of feedback in particular, right? like there's no announcements of promotions. There's no call to arms for battlefields. I feel like it could be still more interactive, especially if there's going to be these commanders that we care about. I don't know if CCP has done enough to make us identify with them yet. In fact, I don't even think we've seen Haikatorigo. I don't even know if we've never. I don't think we've definitely not heard Fiona. I'm pretty sure, except for the one that we made with the Beaver Show. Yeah, but the point is that things like the fate of Intaki, right? Intaki right now could go either way. It is on a knife's edge. It's the kind of thing that something that's happening in the war zone or the construction of the shipcaster could be a catalyst for. Here's my question for you guys. Do we, like, what, if anything, do you think is going to happen when the first group hits stage 1 or stage 2? Like, we've said twists and turns and all that sort of stuff. And here I guess is one of my, oh man, I'm jumping around a lot, but I'll save that for later. Let's go back to the video.
Thing, it's the same poison as everywhere else. People that join, I've held roundtables about faction warfare. You know what a lot of people that are into faction warfare want? They want to feel like they're part of the faction, right? They want orders from their faction leaders. These are the one community in the game that has said, no, I want to work for the NPCs. I want the NPCs to tell us what to do. So yeah, we need the NPCs to tell them what to do. If you're going to be working for the Gallente, you want to be told by Celis Agard, this is where you want to strike. And then when you do, you want to be, complimented for it. You want titles for it. You want. What's crazy is that when I held the roundtable, what I heard was that they literally did not want more ISK rewards. That ISK rewards are pissing off a lot of faction warfare guys because it's causing people to come in who are just interested in the ISK. They don't want that. They want people that are interested in fighting for their team.
It's funny that I say this because we do see an echo of this exact thing in battlefields, where when battlefields were worth too much externally, like ISK and LP and rewards, or like in the form of LP or whatever, the Seagullers were really bad, and it made people pissed off, and like welcomed to a certain extent a reduction in the rewards and an increase in its effect on the faction warfare landscape, so that way the people that really care about it participate, and the people that are just trying to get a buck find that elsewhere.
Interested in people that are interested in things like suits and costumes and titles and medals, because that is what motivates people to join a faction war. There you go.
Right. So I stand by that. I find this fairly prescient. Now, it's worth noting that at that same roundtable, there was another suggestion. And that suggestion was for a system that was called at the time Frontlines, I think. And it was the idea that you could only capture a system, or you got a bonus for capturing a system if it's adjacent to one of your systems. So you couldn't just like grab systems everywhere. You actually had a front line that you had to move forward. So I remember that those were the two suggestions. I wanted campaigns. Somebody else was suggesting front lines, and I can't remember who it was. And then what we see is we have a hybrid of the two, right? So they got a lot of the things that they wanted to out of campaigns, and they instead put it in front lines. We don't see, like, what I was suggesting is I want to see sieges come back. And in a lot of ways we have, right? Frontlines really does concentrate the thing. And I also said that one of the problems is that it's hard to know where the action is and isn't. The frontline system has fixed that. So a lot of the things that I thought that campaigns were going to be needed to fix are instead fixed by the frontline system. But that kind of leaves the question of, like, how does frontline, or how does the campaigns work? How do they all relate together? And how do the player base how do you make it transcend from a feature and an event and turn into an empire that is trying to do things that you can work for to advance their mission? And I that is the essence of like game design, right? That's what it's all about. We're pretty close to there, but again, I stress the fact that it's about that feedback. I want reports about like this. This is insufficient. Not only is this not related to the Shipcaster event, like there's nothing explaining here that you can get the Shipcaster event information here. You can't get more information about the Shipcaster event, whatever. But even down here, the top 3 people, come on now. Like that's so, like the top 3 people, even if you don't include, like, if you ignore the fact that people can cheese it if they want to, like, if you think about like the 1% of the 1%, right? That is a very small population of people that are going to get a lot, on there with huge numbers that don't even make sense to other people. So, like, this is great. Why is it not everyone? Why is it not the top 1,000? Right? Why is it not the top 500? Whatever it ends up being. Hey, thanks, G Bacon. You feel me? Right? Like, I want to see my number on here. Like, I came here and saw this as a leaderboard, looked at it, realized that I have no idea how to hit those numbers without, like, just cheesing it real hard or, botting. And then all that does is make me frustrated, right? Because this just seems to either display the power of no-lifing or, at worst, the power of botting, right? I'm not saying that these people are. I'm just saying, like, it's easy to look at this and have that as the takeaway. And my point is that you don't want your player base to feel that way when they go and look at your leaderboard. You want to see, look, man, if I'm in 675th place, I want to see that. I want to see who's in my bracket, right? If that's what we're going to do. And that's also why I said, like, concentrate it, right? Like, I still think that this is true, that it should be, like with the Othanoon system, then it should have been kills within the Othanoon system. Because that puts a target on its back, right? The people who are doing faction warfare can now find where the action is, but now it's about bringing everybody in. Now it's about bringing the pirates in. Now it's about bringing looky-loos in. Now it's about bringing direct enlistment people in, right? Where there are specific results, specific leaderboards that are put on blast, recognitions that are given, even rewards that are given, that are exclusive to things done in a small area. Are people going to be pissed off? Absolutely. The first time. Make it a normal thing. It needs to be, if you're going to do that, it needs to be a pretty okay cadence, right? People need to feel like they're not being shut out. It's just not their turn necessarily. But either way, the point is that I think that a lot of this isn't necessary because Frontlines do a pretty good job of it. And if you just made battlefields better, nothing I just said matters at all. And I think that making the battlefields better is more important. But that said, the leaderboard thing is true. Like, we should definitely have way more than 3 people on a leaderboard. Yeah, once again, proving that Ader's website is better. Exactly. But, like, the fact that there's no leaderboard for this, can I just say that I personally feel like, let's get real, CCP stepped up their game, so let's treat them like big boys now, and we're giving fair criticism. The fact that there's no leaderboard for this faction campaign that's active, especially given how much other things are updating, is absolutely absurd. Like, there should be like a feed scrolling by, maybe, or a report. Maybe you could argue because it's a Shadow War you're not doing it, or something like that. But like, I feel like this is not enough to let me know how things are going, and the line on the graph is cool, but like, it'd be nice to be able to put names to. We should see this person that has this massive points for turning him in. You know, whatever. Why isn't this in client? It is in client. Wait, which one? It isn't. These are in client, although you have to be in the correct faction to see them. That is true. Yeah. But I do want to, like, going back to what I was saying earlier, I do want to ask, what do you think is going to happen when the first group hits completion on their research and the development begins, right? Because, like, this is political tension. Right now, all 4 empires are kind of denying what's going on, like, officially. That's why it's a shadow war. But at some point, one of the empires is going to pop up with another empire's tech completed, right? Like, the Caldari is going to show up with the Minmatar Amar tech, and they're going to have some explaining to do. The question is that, like, how are these things going to play out? And are these things going to have impacts, direct or indirect, on these various different things that are on a knife's edge, like Intaki, like the Turner people, like Caldari's holdings in Syndicate, right? These different things that are could go either way. Specifically, our actions in the Shadow War could function as catalysts within those things, right? So, you know, the Caldari may be happy now that they're ahead, but what happens when they're completed and that makes everybody, like, all of the empires kind of turn on them? I don't know. Like, we'll have to see whether or not they're that clever. But most of my feedback is about faction warfare, but we've been mostly talking about faction campaigns. Most of it. Well, the thing is this, okay? I've said this before. The bots in faction warfare aren't even really that important, because all you're doing is orbiting a button. Like, we had problems with these people before there were bots. I like to call them cockroaches. Okay, cockroaches are people who go where it's nice and quiet or wherever and just feed, plex there and run away from any fights. They're not there to contribute anything to the actual war zone besides just earning their LP for running their plexes, and they're certainly not there to fight. Well, the thing is that I've always said that, cockroaches, the way to get rid of the cockroaches is by shining light on them, which is why I like the whole idea of, like, campaigns and focused areas. So in that sense, the front lines has really fixed that, because a lot of these bots just literally can't run in places that give good values, right? You're either on a front line or adjacent to a front line or getting incredibly low amounts of LP. And a lot of these bots are trained to run away, even if there's somebody in local, let alone on the gate. So, they don't work as much as they did before. So they solved it that way, which is a good way to solve it. All right. Welcome, Mark. Anywho, but, I will say it is kind of weird that we have gone like 7 days without an update, right? I was thinking today, like, I feel like I have nothing for you guys. I have no direction. I should have something, because I've had so much structure in a lot of my episodes and all that stuff. And I feel like last week I kind of fell off a little bit on that. And then, like, I was starting to get onto myself about it. And then I realized that, like, literally nothing's happened for over a week now. Which brings me to my biggest point about faction campaigns, which is that, like, don't... What... This is the time that CCP should show a strong cadence. Now, CCP has suggested that they're about to be doing a lot of changes. But I mean, like, come on, man. We just played that game for like a year and a half. Can we just get to the having the updates then? Like, it has been, you know, we're in the middle of a war, the Shadow War thing, and hold on a second, let's look it up. Our last update was the scope video almost 2 weeks ago. I'm not saying we need a scope video. I'm saying, why didn't they have things ready, or at least like resources ready? I don't understand. Hopefully it'll be good, but like, this doesn't look good, man. Like, the whole thing is about giving player feedback. There was an experiment where they did have the Gallente commander call out, you know, like the current situation and call for, I think it was Tantalin to be taken, which it subsequently was. But I don't think that, was there even a recognition from her when that was done? I don't think so. Did the people who participated get a medal? No. You see what I'm saying? This is what I meant about, like, people want to feel like they're part of a group. Like, the event feels like it's going to last for another 2 to 3 months. Well, we'll talk about that too. So, the thing is this. Like, well, actually, I have a thing that I wanted to read. I haven't read this yet, but I did want to read this and read it here because I really like the author, and he gives some good thoughts, even though sometimes I disagree with them. So we're going to see how I think about them live. This is Millen. Oh, God, what is this? I don't even know how to pronounce his name. So, either way, he says, as you all noticed over the last month or so, we're currently doing a story arc event. Yeah, Millen Arc Trooper. I think that's a short for his name. All Millen posts on principle. It's worth talking about, okay? We are currently doing a storyline arc event, which is starting to really hack off players for several reasons. One, we've canceled 2 fairly popular events, the Guardian Gala and the Hunt. For this event, more like Grindfest Extraordinaire with less rewards than both. I have a feeling that other events like the Grand Prix or Liberation Games might have been canceled this year if this keeps dragging on. So, to this point, I actually, so far, really agree with him. With the caveat that there's, like, again, CCP keeps promising some payoff in the end. Barring that, the thing that sucks about this event the most is that, like, there is no soft core version, as it were, right? The suspect flag is in all the different sites. There's no way for a low skill person or anything like that to participate. There's also no way to, like, go around and be awesome in it without having other people come and, you know, kill you. By that I mean, like, overpower it with, like, a paladin or whatever it is, like the top tier for that thing. And I think that we are feeling the absence of that because the players that aren't interested in in the factions or in faction warfare as they see it, because they lump them together still, they're not interested in the factions, and they're not all they see it is that they're not getting an event. They're not getting anything in the event for them at all. And I can feel for that. And to that, and especially since maybe not so Wormholes with Love, or not Wormhole, the Guardians Gala, although the Guardians Gala has had some interesting, unique mechanics in the past. Mostly, I think that a lot of people honestly and truly look forward to the hunt. It is actually, I think, I would say that it's probably contending for second place for most popular event in the modern era, right? You know, it's contending with Crimson Harvest because Crimson Harvest is a long time favorite for a lot of people. Winter event is clearly the biggest, but like a lot of there, the thing is that the hunt rewards descanning. You know, there's multiple components to it. There's ways for players that can't overpower it to be able to use kind of a little bit more strategery in order to still be able to complete it and get their stuff. I feel like they asked a lot of us to give up those two events, and so far I don't feel like we got something that was worth it. Now, is the faction campaign as we have it good? Yes. All three sites are really fun. The stuff that it is in it is great. But the question is, would it be any worse if there was a hunt going on at the same time? You know? I don't know. Yeah, the 90% drop rate for loot in wormholes, and then the hunt actually gets... There are people that wait all year for the hunt to be able to pull their implants out of their pods. Think of the implants. Yeah. And also, yes, thank you. There's also no login rewards. So there's very little pointing people to participating. It really is a background thing. If you don't care about it, or if you're not into that very particular kind of PvPvE, then this, like, I feel like this event is far more polished, but yet far more narrow in its audience. And I feel like that's kind of unfortunate. So, either way, that's point one. 2, lazy coding and reuse of last year's event stuff without updating or adding new stuff to the loot table drops in the reward box. Skins are last year's Red Force, Blue Force skins, nothing new here. And each faction Navy skins, again, nothing new here. I disagree with this a lot, so let's talk about it. First of all, there's nothing in here about lazy coding, and this event has better implementation than any of the events that we've ever received. So, the same skins and stuff, well, yeah, like most events at this point repeat the skins. You know, if events like this didn't drop Navy skins, what would they drop? There is new skins. They are in the reward track. There was new Red Force and Blue Force skins added for this. They're not like repeating the old new Blue Force and Red Force skins. And as an events team, you don't always get the kind of resources it takes to make new skins and stuff like that. So yeah, you do have to sometimes reuse some of the stuff. And while the rats do look like they're reusing stuff, maybe the fact that they're kind of the same is the point, and I guarantee you, I can show you that they are all new rats. Huh. Minimalist input and intention concept. CCP can code the event, shove it out, let it run for what appears like 2 to 3 months, without much need to babysit it. I agree where this is kind of going, which is... Again, it feels like it's just drawing on before something actually happens. The grind of it is pretty extreme, I'd say. Like, we waited for 3 to 4 weeks, anticipating it, which I'm sure I'll own that. But at this point, we are circling on, like, almost a month. I haven't done the math yet. 3 to 4 weeks on this event, and we're a third of the way through phase 1. Other shoes may drop or whatever, but like it really does at this point in the woods feel like, oh, we're just going to be grinding like this till April. And I could definitely, while there are definitely those of us who are kind of excited by that notion, there are definitely people, a lot of people that hear that and get either sad, upset, or something along those lines. And again, lack of feedback, right? Now, the numbers going up is good, right? But, like, I can't even see how many points I've earned past completing the track, let alone a history of that. I don't know. I feel like they're close, but there's a few things that are still missing there, right? Or more importantly, every little bit goes a long ways at increasing the immersion and the effectiveness of the event. Huge RNG on the reward boxes. Hey, you might get 300 loyalty tokens. You might get 4,000 loyalty tokens, or conversely, just a ton of new boosters. Also, yeah, there's a bunch of new boosters, which is new rewards, by the way. I don't know. Like, I get that they're not permanent or whatever, but, like, there's a bunch of new stuff. There's a bunch of new boosters. So, yeah. Or conversely, just a ton of these new boosters, which are mostly just rot because people don't understand how to use them. Again, okay, so actually this is something that I think is the biggest thing that's missing, okay? You know what we need? You know what we need? We need Ashtarothi to not need to make a mega guide. We need a video. Like, scope video is cool. Talking about the Shadow War and mentioning that there's data sites and salvage opportunities and all this stuff in the data in that is good. Having a dev blog is good. We need a technical, like, instructional video on the Shadow Wars. The different sites, break them into different videos, right? Mini videos that explain the different sites, what to do, how to do them, what you need to bring, etc., right? And put those in the help video section. There should be more videos added to the video help section. The video help section is starting to be used to show videos around to people, right? And these videos are really good. But the problem is that a lot of people don't even know they exist. Here, let me show you guys what I'm talking about, just in case you don't know what that they exist. Hold on. So if you open up the agency and you go to the help section here, there's a series of videos, and, like, there's scanning basics. There's all sorts of stuff. Now, there's a few bugs in this thing that isn't great, you know, whatever. Yeah, you can hear that. You know, but overall, it's real good stuff, right? And more importantly, like, these down here are awesome. Everybody should see these, but most people don't. But here's the thing. The thing that people are asking about, right? At the beginning of an event, everybody's asking, how do I do the event? So if you have a help video and you put it in here, in the event section, Shadow War section, and little videos here, then people will share those videos around, which will not only get people to know what the hell's going on. You don't have to tell them everything. Let people discover stuff. But it will also show people that this video section exists. Because the cool thing is that, like, anytime... No. I'll just use the local. If I drag this in here, right, and then I close this... I can click on my optimal range link, and it opens up the video, right? So the more we can get used to sharing these around, and the more these videos fill up, I think that this is going to go a huge way of helping us, like, get players up to speed, and players getting up to speed. Because once you find this path, then everything that's here kind of, there's all these really sensible things. And I love it, and we need to get more attention on it. I digress. All right. See, this is why I don't ignore his posts, because they give me good content. They should have the data core turn-ins for progress. Well, the thing is this, like, on the other hand, once it's done, right? So it's hard. I think that, I feel like there should have been more than one threshold, right? like maybe thirds. I also feel like maybe the data sites should have started spawning like since the Caldari have 30% progress, they also now spawn the stellar transmuter sites at no, because then they could run it themselves. That doesn't sound good at all. Never mind. All right. Either way, continuing. I don't mind huge RNG and reward boxes. I think that's fine. I mean, it is what it is. That's a balance issue. Feeling that the event has a rigged winner. CCP, we remember Niarja and the Triglavian story arc. What are you talking about? Okay, well, I will say this. Anybody who mentions Niarja as a context of a rigged winner, like, this is a red flag to me. Niarja wasn't rigged. That's a whole rant. The Minmatar players still feel betrayed when they stopped Vard and succeeded and you blew it up anyways. What? They didn't blow up Vard. And now we suspect the same thing's going on here with the Shipcaster Shadow War event. Who's they? Okay, so 5 has gone a little bit off the edge. We are officially like in the jungle of logic. It feels like they certainly used a guiding hand to get 27 exact systems. No. What are you talking about? It wasn't 27 exact systems. I don't even know how to respond to that, because like the systems that got taken by Edencom became fortresses. In theory, they could have fortified everything. But yeah, it certainly wasn't exact, and it certainly didn't have to be Niarja. Niarja had a standoff. Niarja went for like 6 hours or more without the percentage adjusting in either direction, 0.1%, like not even a budge. Because both sides were just annihilating every single rat pack as they were spawning. Like, it wasn't until we ended it, it became a war of attrition as we entered into the nighttime, and the Edencom started to flagger a little bit, and the goons had just shown up a few hours earlier, like a couple hours earlier, and so they took over the slamming of the whole system, and so as soon as Edencom began to flagger, then it got pushed over, and Niarja fell. Also, it's worth noting, well, there is a little bit of a thing. It was kind of funny that Niarja happened to start right after Edencom managed to fortify Arshat, because that was a huge effort, and then immediately they were thanked by it by Niarja going live. But I'll tell you this right now, I can attest to the fact that the developer of Invasions did not know when Niarja was going to go live. I can't remember if he was going to go to bed or he woke up in the morning, I think it was, and he checks his phone and he sees that Niarja's live, and he immediately rushes into work. So either way, suspect mechanics in HiSec has ended up with a lot of HiSec event runners quitting the event, and now it further drags out. And the current rules of exploration in T1 Navy frigates and the data site has led to some interesting issues. And some players have gamed it to where they sit in the site and wait for timers to expire, generally cloaked up, then pounce on the unwary who are suspect jumping in to do content, but can't prevalently attack or get concorded in HiSec. Okay. We're going to start from the end here. Some players are cloaking up and then pouncing on the unwary afterwards. This, I don't care who you are, this is emergent gameplay. You have to set this up, and you have to set a trap, and it gets sprung. There are lots of traps in this game. If you go to a site, and it's open, and then you go in, and there's wrecks, like, you should probably be a little bit wary. A cloaked person can't move very fast. You know, like, I feel like this is fine given the context of the event, given the rules that we are operating under. Now, do the rules make any sense? I agree that this event is attempting to use the suspect system to function as the mechanics for something that the suspect system was never really meant for. And the issue with this is that it has brought into focus all of the issues from high-sec conflict and flagging in EVE, right? Like the fact that logistics and remote support in high-sec is just like, it's going to kill you. So now you can't spider take the event. You can't expect there to be, you can't bring, it's a battle cruiser size site. And yet if something happens, everybody loses each other's boosts because now you're, you know, and they can attack one of you. It just, or worse, like, because the thing is that they don't even need to catch you on the inside. They can catch you on the outside. How about that? So like, and of course the best way to gameplay around it is to not play the game for a period of time to let your suspect timer cool off. And yeah, it feels like it's kind of cool to have this like conflict zone in high-sec, but I feel like the suspect flag is not quite the correct hammer for the nail. It was suggested, and I think it's the correct answer, that there needs to be a kind of suspect flag that gives everyone suspect when they come inside and refreshes every second and then clears itself. You know, basically everybody gets a 2-second suspect flag that refreshes every tick while you're inside. So that way, if anybody warps off, by the time they land anywhere, the suspect flag is gone. Hey! What? Hey, thank you for that. Hold on, this is my notifications. Ah, Ganai! Thank you for the gifted sub to Orleas. I agree. She deserves membership. Right. I'm not trying to justify, you know, we're just using this as a way of opening up the discussion. I'm merely using this blog as a way of systematically laying out my thoughts, because if you didn't watch before this, I was jumping all over the place. So here we go. So yeah, I think that the idea that a suspect flag that applies to everybody on the inside, but is cleared when you leave, would be probably, I'd like to see that event happen and see how it works, if that was possible. And then some players have gamed. So the thing about the gaming it thing is, as I mentioned, like when you land, there is rats there. So you do have to cloak up. There's still the beacon there. I haven't tried it myself. I don't know how hard it would be to actually do that cloak before anything happens. So you've got to kill like the first wave of rats. But that's what I was saying. Like if you go in there and there's rats there, like, dude, burn off. Fight from range. CCP changing the mechanics of the site several times and stacking NPC spawns. Originally, the data sites would spawn wave one after another until you completely finished hacking. Now about 3 to 4 waves completely inundate you, and many times kill unwary players who don't have the tank or skills to counter. That's just factually wrong. Unless that changed yesterday, because I mean, like, obviously my one data site got interrupted. I can go try it again today. But like, that's just factually wrong, and shows a lack of understanding of the mechanics of how the site works. Now, I believe that they have changed the loot a few times, and it would be nice if there was a little bit more play out. Again, feedback, right? If there is going to be changes, there should be like some sort of report of it or something like that. Just something to go hand in hand to be like, oh, well, that's tied to that. Okay. A site literally today, number 7 is just wrong. Great. We'll move on. Omega players only, because you have to do be Omega to set your stuff to red if you want to be gank, even though suspect settings are benefiting site campers, and some of the best fits in tanking capacity are 2 T2 Omega. I'm not even, nope, not even giving that one an interpretation. So, but good points to begin with, right? And then, of course, he says, like, he's literally just describing the imbalanced nature of things, but like, in a sense, this is what consequences look like, right? But it seems to be punished by a CCP, and now they have to do multiple things at the same time, so their forces and time get split. Except for we're making more progress than everyone else. Like, I mean, we've flaggered a little bit, but I know a lot of people are still waiting, like, to turn in cores and stuff. You need to put out new rewards and new skins for the reward crates. This I agree with. Like, especially everybody who cares at all is done with the track 100%. And like I said, I can't even tell how many points I have. If we could now, like, add an extender on the track or something else, I don't even know. Like, maybe every so many points, maybe every, 100 points instead, you get a free rewards crate. Like, something to make it feel like I should keep grinding. Besides making the, like, near, like, mountainous task of getting that line to go all the way up. It's disheartening. We need to continue those little goals. I know a lot of people that have finished the track and have just stopped immediately because they don't have any more incremental goals to work on. And also, by putting the thumb on the scale with recursive computing modules dropping some sites, you've artificially dropped the PI market, which was the point, which may have consequences later that you might not like, especially when those PI are used for stations as well. I'm sorry. I thought wow. So during a time of increased demand, CCP created an increased supply to make sure that a few people don't suddenly make a ton of money and these cores become impossible to build because the recursive computing modules are like 7 million, right? You just joined the game today? It's very fun. Use a buddy code. Watch my videos. Join Convocation of Empyreans. Have fun. Use the radial menu. Move it to the right mouse button. Don't let anybody tell you what to do. Except for those things. Found the guy who bought out all the RCMs and then cried about the rare scorch containers. Yeah. This is... I mean, like, yeah, that's a fair way of categorizing it, but it's giving us a thing to talk about. Like, I'm just trying to think about my own thoughts about the matter. The coding for the agency itself for its event has lead to interesting bugs and lag issues. Not sure if your internal QA team has been looking into it. Faction warfare systems seem to ID sites before they are seen or even scanned. Okay, well, given the fact that CCP Kestrel taught me how to do that, so that way I could teach all of you how to do that, I would suggest that the fact that he described the fact that the data site's not showing up in the system that you're in was a bug. I think that the fact that you can see them everywhere in the faction warfare system might have been the point. All right. The event feels more like a continuation of scarcity, but it's targeted towards player events. I feel like that sentence is just like the Simpsons meme where she's like 9 and they're like, oh, and 11. Yeah, that was that moment. Like, I got to drop scarcity. Trigger everyone. It needs to be more reward to make it worth our while as players. I mean, except for there's still tons of competition for the sites itself. The event is dragging pretty hard. Again, I feel like this is a good example of the fact that there's not enough feedback going on. It doesn't feel like things are happening. And a lot, look, I'm not one to correct people's spelling, but moving on. Player confidence isn't in a good spot due to it. I mean, I don't know. I think that there's a lot of people. There's definitely some people that are still highly motivated about. X up in chat if you're still highly motivated about this event. The hunt and the gala were ways for players to earn some money, or in the case of the hunt, it was for other events which could drop implants other than the Crimson Harvest. That's not exactly comforting. Blah 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 blah. Look at all them Nexes. Oh my God. Okay, well, I understand that I live in a little bubble, and this is definitely the echo chamber talking, but like, I feel like he says a lot. He can say a lot of players are losing confidence, and I can say a lot of players are not. Good, we can move on. We're all in agreement. Please add more rewards or new skins for the reward boxes. I just feel like something needs to happen. Like, those twists and turns need to happen pretty dang soon. Which brings me to the idea of, like, so we've got the live event happening, where you have the mass tests happening on Thursday. Mass tests usually get patched onto Sissy. It's a good time that we get a bunch of stuff added, so maybe we'll see more stuff. They've also added a bunch of stuff that they basically could just patch into existence at any given time, including stuff that are both related to the Angels and the Garistas, which are the two groups that were missed out for the hunt and Guardians Gala. So this could still all blow up, but I'm brought back to that question that I was brought to as we were waiting for the event, which is why does it have to take so long? Why can't we have more sense of ramp up? When we did Invasions, when Invasions first came out, every week for the first month, there was a ramp up, right? The first week, we didn't get any sites. We only got rats roaming around. Week 2, we started getting minor conduits. Week 3, we got major conduits. And week 4, only then, we got the World Arc. And that was awesome. It felt like we were building up to something. This doesn't feel like I'm building up to something, right? So, I'll say that. I don't like how it's not. I'm not sure what to do with the PI though. I don't like that it's dropping in the sites because it frees up the market on one side for ease of purchase. Okay, hold on. Hang tight. Hold on. We can. I want to. That's easy. This is easy. We can do this. 1 second. Yeah, the general topic is we're talking about the event, and then we're going to talk about faction warfare from more of a criticism point of view than a praise point of view. Okay? That's our goal today, right? Not to be bitter vets, but to give good criticism, because CCP's come a long ways with this stuff, but it's worth giving them good feedback, like feedback of where we feel like things can be better in a way that isn't totally like out of control. Either way, let me see. If I go, so if he's correct, I should see that the recursive computing modules were 2.4 million or more, or about there, prior to the event. Okay? So, no spoilers. So right now they're 2.5 million. Okay? So for his hypothesis to be true, the price should be suppressed because of this. Okay? Otherwise, anyone who holds their PI now is basically throwing away money, right? Why would you hold it right now if you know it's going to the demand is going to go down later? Don't stash away recursive computing modules for hard times, okay? So, let's look at the price history. Wowzer. Okay. Well, that's 3 months. Let's say a year. So what we can see is that the normal price for recursive computing modules, if it was true that this was counteracting the market forces, then recursive computing modules would be closer to 1 million. But what we can see here is that this spike, it was hitting 3 times the value. Okay? There's a difference. Yes, Flea, but there's a difference between just saying it and showing it. There's a difference between letting the market forces go and actually allowing things to... Like this... Did you really want every recursive computing module to be worth 4 million ISK or more? This is just... Yeah, this is just provably false. Now is the time to stash Cryvella's filaments, not recursive computing modules. Yeah, that's a good point. Cryvella's is going to be good. Also, now, I suggest the fact that this is... We do not necessarily know what's coming next 100%. But, is this it? I think this is it. Yeah, because you can see its price is going up too. This price increase is 100% in anticipation of what is coming next. Right? So, need more police skins from events? Aren't the police skins... Most of them are paid for. The Comet one is the only one you can get from in-game effort, right? I really want to know what kind of mining we're going to have to do in Pochfin. It's going to be kind of wild. All right. Let's see. Anything else about faction campaigns? I also feel like we can't answer the question of, like, we don't know enough about the ship. That's what we should do. That's what they should be doing. We should be learning more and more about... They should be teasing what this shipcaster thing is as they go, right? As we work towards it, they should reveal more and more information about the shipcaster, right? No, it's not Resource Wars. It's going to be in Pochfin, and it is gated. I don't think it's going. It's not like a Resource Wars sort of thing, though. We need to go in there and mine a new kind of Rakavine. But yeah, I think that there's a lot of cool mechanics when it comes to the Shadow War, when it comes to like affiliations and who you're doing work for and who you appear you're doing work for and all that kind of stuff. All that's good. I just feel like, yeah, there's still that missing that kind of lower tier. Because like even the manufacturing of the data cores are Omega only. It feels like there's not a way for, like, I'm doing my part, right? Except for that one very particular niche kind of style of PvPvE. Either way, let's see. So the thing is this. I think that the important thing to keep in mind, though, is that we are very, very, very close to Eve's birthday. And CCP has put... So, Capsuleer Day is kind of an interesting holiday as far as, like, the holidays go. In fact, let's look it up. Capsuleer Day, Eve University. Capsuleer Day has only happened 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22. Has it been officially called Capsuleer Day as an event? So what this means is that most of the time, the Eve anniversary has been basically a login event at best, right? In 2018, we got Operation Conscious Interruption, which was actually like a full-scale event for the 15th anniversary. There was fighting, there was fighting to be had and all that stuff. That was good. In 19, there was a login event. In 20, there was combat sites. Battlecruiser all over low sec, null sec, and wormhole space, so only in dangerous space. It looks like. I don't even remember that one. 2021, we have, oh, the Rogue Capital Shipyards. This was like dealing with the Triglavians and stuff. I think it was. EOM? Hit an EOM ship with fireworks in a Rogue Capital Shipyard site. Oh, was that after the Dread attack? Yeah, that was the EOM Dread attack one. Got it. Yep. And then 2022, we had a login reward and smugglers. Oh, yeah. Last year was the smuggler event. Okay. So the Capsuleer Day, my point is that Capsuleer Day is an open like page for them. They could do any amount of scale of event, you know, whatever. The question is, what could possibly they do? That, I mean, like, the thing is that they're hyping up Capsuleer Day an unusual amount, right? Both in the fact that they keep bringing it up as being a big thing because it's the 20th anniversary, but also like Capsuleer Day specifically, not just the fact that it's the 20th year, because like on the 10-year anniversary, there's a big focus on the 10-year Fan Fest. But this year is much more focused on Capsuleer Day, probably because Fan Fest comes later. I feel like the Angels and Grissus NPCs are for Capsuleer Day. Yeah, right. But I also think that all of this kind of keys in together. And this brings me to my prediction. You ready for my prediction? We're going to call it. And there's going to be some people that think it's trite. There's a lot of people that are going to agree with me, and there's a lot of people that might be confused. Ready? Ready? Capsuleer Day is when they reveal the new pirate faction. I think that tracks. I mean, they've set up for the event to potentially change, the Stargate event to potentially change. I sincerely believe that the Stargate event appears... you did. I think that the Stargate event and its length is such that it was designed to not let us complete it, right? That I talked about this, I think, the last time too, where like, you know, sometimes when you're doing like a mission in like a Vigia game, like they tell you to go out and do something, but then things change, right? The real mission reveals itself halfway through or whatever, right? Like, I think that this is one of those things that's like, hey, yeah, guys, go and move those boxes from here to there, 1,000 times, and then walks away. So that way you can get into this routine, and then after 150 boxes, suddenly the thing happens, right? And then that changes the context of everything. But you're invested, you've locked in to this thing. There's already a narrative, right? People have invested money. People are working on the lines going up. What happens if something changes to that event that like changes the entire context in some small or big way, right? Like maybe the true competition isn't even fully revealed. Now, obviously, you're going to want to give, people their progress its rightful due. You don't want to make people feel like that their efforts didn't matter. But my point is that like if suddenly they give everybody 50%, then that's a clear way of being like, psych, you thought you had months, and it turns out there's only a week. And also, it turns out that now there's a pirate faction, and actually you can reject all of the things that you've done so far and now turn in stuff for the Deathless and blah, 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 right? That's what I'm calling, okay? Only because, like I said, they're very excited about things, right? They're very excited. They were very excited about the faction warfare stuff, but I almost feel like they acted like Uprising was just barely the beginning. That wasn't the thing that they were really excited about. They were excited because now the ball was moving. But what they're excited about is I feel coming. And there's an unusual focus on Capsuleer Day, and they keep talking about twists and turns in a world in which we've gone 3 weeks in a faction campaign with 0 twists and turns. Either this video is going to age well, or CCP done up. But given the fact that we've been at this world before, where I say basically those two things again, the last few times, CCP's managed to do it. So I look forward to seeing it. In the meantime, my point is that the progress that we put in right now might matter more and sooner than just the shipcaster, right? If we make sufficient progress as the Gallente, that could influence whether or not Intaki remains under one control or another, right? Like, these things are, the broader agenda could be influenced by our progress. So, I think that it is worth being invested in, and it's worth working towards, like, even now, even if there is a twist coming that recontextualizes things, we can only assume that it'll do so in a way that's still, like, or basically like a checkpoint. What we've done now will influence what comes next. What we're doing now will influence what comes next. CCP says that you can fight for any side, but they're going to let the side they want win. First of all, there's not really a winning. Also, they're not letting anything. I mean, they're not going to stop a side from winning. And I don't think CCP wants anybody to win necessarily. I think that different people at CCP probably have different desires as to who would win. I think by far the coolest story would be Gallente, right? Like, that would be the story that would get them in the news the best. So if I might guess, a scope news thingy appears. The news on the guy from Turner has survived, and the Constellation go into rebellion and joins a new faction. My guess is that either the group from Turner is going to show up in Pochfin or in Flossiswin. I'm not sure which yet. It could go either way because the energy readings out of Flossiswin. The next expansion ought to be announced soonish as well. That's what I'm saying. So, like, literally, this faction campaign is going forward. By the time that whatever this is that's for the birthday is played out, we're going to be basically on, by that point, it's going to be the expansion. And, like, I'm pretty sure that the expansion, like, every single thing points to the fact that the expansion is going to be something along the lines of players are going to be given the ability to construct stellar transmitters to control elements of their solar systems based on certain conditions. And the latest clue, of course, was CCP Rattati's interview with, I think, Oz, where he points out that what they're working towards is something like terraforming, which sounds very much like what we see. So I sincerely believe that I would say that unless otherwise give an indication, we should expect all of the 4 empires to be able to build their shipcaster, because there's nothing really that would cause them to be able to be cut off, right? Barring Gallente, like, losing control of Intaki, like, Mehator is Mehator, Ammo, and Onamon. Those are all very secure systems. So I keep on coming back to the fact that, like, it's not like this stolen technology is going to be impossible to steal later on, right? As the shipcasters get built, it should only be easier to steal from other people. So I think I sincerely believe that the shipcaster will be eventually built, or could be eventually built, even if it could be prolonged basically indefinitely by somebody. Let's see. So, hey Ash, saw you. You saw Ugali's in the is Gallente controlled again. I did see that. I'm very happy about that and trying to keep it low key. The thing is that like the lore really, really, really reacted to the Caldari taking Yagalis. And so it's really going to be worth noting. Or it's going to be, I'm going to have my eyes out. That's going to be the thing I'm most looking forward to seeing what comes out when it comes to the next New Eden news. Look at what happened to the MR. Yeah, well, the MR are... That's the other thing I was pointing out earlier is that, like... Or during my... One of them videos. I've done so many videos recently. But, like, as the empires complete their tasks, the data cores, the value of the data cores is going to crash. Right? Like, at a certain point, there's not going to be a competition anymore. And it's just going to be, like, go and, you know... Like... The thing is that as soon as if the when the Caldari completes their task, then you either sell the data core to the Gallente, or you turn it into the Gallente yourself, or you throw it in a bin and call it a collectible because it's now worth nothing. We Caldari want you to have your native system, but you got to beat us first. Hey, man, we're fighting a multi-front fight, and I feel like we're doing a pretty valiant effort, all things considered. There will be some recovery that's going to need to be done once the Shadow War stuff can be pushed forward. But you know, we did also push back in Tantalin, which was pretty good, and past that. So, you know, the cycle of war continues. All right. So I want to talk about a few things when it comes to faction warfare, because I've got some gripes. And so let's go over them, okay? First of all, direct enlistment. Direct enlistment is great. Direct enlistment pointed out the fact that the API is defunct, and this is unacceptable. The problem is that there are endpoints that are supposed to tell you people the faction, and either those endpoints are not being clear, or it's just being difficult. There isn't enough actual technical support for understanding direct enlistment to allow groups to manage like the actual faction warfare stuff. That is unfortunate, and I don't, you know, we've been working on figuring out solutions for it ourselves. But ultimately, I think that direct enlistment is really, really good. But no, I think that basically the only thing is the feedback thing, right? Like even if I could, as a CEO, pull up a list of everybody who's in a direct enlistment and what they're in. In-game, that would probably be a step in the right direction. I don't know, man. I just feel like it's good on an individual level, but it's really confusing on a institutional level. Next, battlefields. As I said before, I think that battlefields are great, but they're not broadly impactful enough to generate fights for the sake of a desperation, right? So, as I've suggested before, what I'd like to see happening is like when a battlefield is completed, the winner, every system that the winner owns gains 1% advantage, and every system that the opponent owns, or the losing team owns, loses 1% advantage. You know, to an individual system, you can rebuild this really quick, but what it would do is it would make each success and failure of a battlefield something that is noteworthy. I also feel like there needs to be, especially if this shipcaster, as I am guessing, is going to be related to getting ships to the battlefields. I really feel like the fact that battlefields are beginning should be indicated better. You know, we've said before, like back in the original faction warfare campaign, rebalance, I remember there were some people asking for the ability to like see which plexes are being ran, you know? In the same way, I think that it would be nice for us to be like have a notification that comes up when a battlefield happens. And furthermore, on the subject of notifications, I actually kind of really like the notification that comes up in the middle. But the problem is that this, like, local used to be the way that they send most of their messages. But most people aren't actually paying attention to local chat, so it just scrolls by and nobody reads it. The pop-ups are, you know, the navigation stuff, and now these centerpieces are really good to get your eye, but they also like need to get out of your way really quick because otherwise people complain about it. But they don't leave a feedback response. Like if I read if a supply depot is destroyed, right? Based on the phrasing, like the first half of it'll be like the Gallente thing, you know, Gallente facilities has been destroyed, their support has been weakened. Or if you complete a rendezvous, it's like the Caldari site has been destroyed, the Gallente's power has been strengthened. I don't even remember what all the language is. But that's my point, is that like the language is very similar in both directions, and it just flashes up on screen for 3 seconds and then goes away with an audio cue. This is faster than the golden cookie on Cookie Clicker. So if something catches my attention, by the time I go back to it, if I happen to not be looking at it at that exact second, which is why you would have an audio cue, I would assume, I'm not actually going to be able to read or process the entire thing in the amount of time it goes, and then it goes away. It also, you know, I get that they don't necessarily want it to be a notification, and some of them are like tied to a notification as well. But like, just make it so all of these messages also show up in like, wait, are they in the logs? Put them in the logs. Make me have to pay attention to logs. Tell me that they're in the logs, and then I can just read the logs, right? Like, give me something. Give me something where I can be like, what just happened, right? And better yet, give me reports. Let me know. Put out definitive information. Put out how many plexes the Caldari completed and the Gallente completed in Devon yesterday, right? If there's a particularly bloody battlefield, well, you know, let us know. Put it in our face. What is happening? Who is doing well? And who's putting an effort? You know? This could even be automated to a certain extent. Basically, it all boils down to feedback, right? Like, when I push a button, I want to know I pushed a button. When I run a Plex, I want to know that I've changed things. And I think that, you know, in some ways that works. You know, like the Plex moves the thing up. That's great. That works, for example. Advantage goes up 1%. That's something, that's why people are willing to grind those rendezvous points all day, like sit there for 20 minutes and every 20 minutes undock or roam around and just run them, because, you know, there's these tangible efforts. But when you turn in 300 data cores or 150 data cores and see, or rather, yeah, and see not even a blip on the radar, you're not even sure what you're doing, if anything. It's hard to even tell if, like, the line going up is even related to people turning things in. There's no feedback there. When I can't see what my points are past completion, there's no feedback there. Does that make sense? The lack of direction and instruction on how direct enlistment work and what happened when I do enlist is frustrating. I agree. And I think that, like, I get that CCP or that EVE is complicated and there's so much stuff to do and whatnot, but I think that they really need to commit to especially new things. New things should be explained clearly, have things in the help video section, have like that pop-up video, that pop-up image that pops up and tells you something. If you click away from that, it's gone. If you go to the agency window, it can tell you what's going on, but it, like, does it though? You know, and we're so close. The problem is that we're so close. We're now hitting that, the uncanny valley, right? Where it's like, oh man, I really feel like I could become immersed into this, but it's just not quite there yet. Let Tech 3 destroyers go into medium navies. What? Why would a Tech 3 why would any Tech 3 why would a Tech 2 can't even get into navies? No. No Tech 2, no Pirate, no Tech 3 in navies. Period. Now, there should be more advanced, maybe. Or, you know, like change the balance between the navies. But I really like the idea that there is a line of the plexes in the battlefield that is like here's the reason why. The reward of faction warfare is the faction ships. So it makes sense that the faction ships are basically the king of their domain, right? It creates a very natural progression that, like, I can now build the ships that I want to fly in the plexes because they're strong in the plexes that they're in, right? They're leery of waiting agency. The thing is that, like, agency is a good source of information. This is why I've said that they should rebrand agency as Aura and basically put everything in there. An entire encyclopedia. All show info should lead to the agency. All information should lead to Aura. It should pop it up and it should tell you, you know, what sites are there, what tracking does, you know, everything. What's going on, how things work, whatever. It should be in one place, so that way people get used to, like, that would go so far. Like, EVE has come a long ways in the last 2 years at becoming a learnable game. This is something I used to harp on all the time, and thankfully I don't have to as much anymore. But, like, that would go so far in making this into a learning game. What about a Navy Logi ship? Cheers to that. I want a Navy Logi ship that is designed to do damage with logistics somehow. Or maybe boosting? That'd be weird. Wouldn't it be weird to put command? I don't think that's a good idea at all. I don't know. Maybe a weaker kind of boost? Could we use a new kind of boost? I think we could use a new kind of boost. Anyway. So yeah, and also, like, the accomplishment of status, right? Like, it's great to have the top 3 in the leaderboard, but we need medals. We need recognition. We need rank ups. We need promotions to be, you know, a thing that at least pretends to be important. You could post. Here's the thing. Actually, this is true about the Battlefield one too. You could just post messages in the militia chat, right? X so-and-so has been promoted. You know, whatever. Make it so that people can silence it if they want to or whatever. But, like, I think that it would be really cool for, like, actually, you know what I want? I want to be able to, if I'm in the militia, I should be opening up here. Actually, this is about medals and broadly. But, like, oh, yeah, it says at war. This should, like, I should have, like, a big, cool, like, this is fine and subtle, but, like, I want medals. I want my rank here. I want my rank here. Yeah, that's what I want. I want my rank here. I'd love to see a shield equivalent of trigger repairs. We've already talked about this. It's an Eden Com ship. It's the chain heal. And it's fine. I want the Navy ship to be better with my rank, to get better with my rank. Yeah. I think that, I think it would be cool if maybe the prices changed or the availability changed of certain things based on your rank. But honestly, I seriously think that we need to just, lean in on the intangibles, like titles, clothing, you know, all that stuff. I think that each rank should maybe come with a skin that you can only have once you get that rank. You know, whatever. I feel like there should be more ways of being, like, taking pride in the fact that I'm a captain, because I know a lot of people that really, really, really do take pride in whatever rank that they have. But they, like, because it's not really out there, they don't get to celebrate it much. But you know, the guys that are Luminaire General are, like, it keeps their heart warm when on a cold winter's night. A Navy version of heavy interdiction cruisers, but instead of warp disruption, you get a new kind of boost. Yeah, I think that a new kind of faction like Navy boost could be really cool. Also, only show that rank stuff when you're in faction warfare. You can see like a retirement box. I want to get a challenge coin. I got demoted for misclicking. Yeah. Oh man, the standings things. Again, like the rules of Crime Watch and all that stuff really could use some more looking at. What about needing a certain rank to fly something? Well, again, back with the fact that you can get demoted really easily if things are done wonky, and more importantly, you can actually get demoted by no fault of your own, like possibly by a trick. So I'd be hesitant to like lock something out once you've gotten it. That's why I was saying like something that sits on the side. We don't want something that gives power, because then people will bitch and moan that they have to grind it. We want something that gives people status. Does that make a difference? Do you understand the difference in why that would like function as a reward differently, and why I'd prefer one over the other? E-War Cruiser, Navy E-War Cruiser. Yeah. I think that that's a good thing. I think that the fact that the second type of E-War is locked behind the Tech 2 E-War frigate, or E-War stuff, is unfortunate. I think that the idea of having like a heavy scrambler for the Gallente and like some sort of like throwaway nuke boat with some extra like extreme-ish range, like kind of does some of the stuff that the recons do, but like not quite as well, but like points in that direction. Or you could go the other way and just like make it be the same thing. Like, don't give it a nuke bonus, like range bonus, but expect them to all be kind of brawly like the current E-War frigates are. But don't give us a Blackbird Navy issue with medium drones that jam people. Lord howdy, find something better than that. 07, Elange. I feel like there's an extra syllable there that I'm not pronouncing. Special rank insignia on a uniform set to rank and change automatically. Yeah, I mean, that'd be cool. The thing is that, like, obviously some of these things are simpler than others to perform. Just use your link for 1 million SP. Got my drones 5 done super quick. That is actually objectively like the best way to use your million free SP. Also, it's worth noting that if you get my my link from here, it's not actually my link. It's what I've done is, because I'm now subbed to like 2030 at this point, and you guys think that's hyperbole. At any rate, so what we've done is we've made it so that like all of our officers, all the people that help me out, make this thing happen, make the convocation happen, that sends you to a random one of their links. So you still get to help somebody out that helps me out and everything like that. You get 1 million free skill points that are unallocated that you can put into whatever you want. And then whoever happens to, the code that you use gets 4 Master Arm Cerebral Accelerators if you ever buy Plex, and half a month of game time if you ever buy Omega after using the code. So, yeah. And of course, once you do, if you want to check things out, please consider joining the Convocation of Empyreans. We are here to maximize player engagement with EVE Online, here to help you with PvE, PvP, high sec, low sec. Null sec is someone else's problem. I'm glad too, Mr. E. Thank you. Trying to think. I mean, a lot of my other nitpicks I feel are relatively small about faction warfare. Like, one of the things I'd like to see is a progression as things begin to escalate, whether it's advantage or it's contested value, I'd like to see it that as it climbs, we get less of one type of site and more of another type of site. Like when a system's contested value is low, then it's mostly novice or scout sites, and then as it gets escalated, then it increases the chances of battlefields, larges, opens, etc. What are your thoughts on the current status of LP stores? Unimaginative. We just need more. We need more things that like. Here's a good one. All those Navy skins should be on there. They should be pretty inefficient considering their value right now, but like, there's no reason to not necessarily do those. I feel like outfits, titles. If they've said that LP stores are supposed to be something along the lines of I just realized something. I know what we need. I know what we need. You know what we need? Ready? You know those tokens that are 100,000 ISK? What if those were 100 LP per? Would that be wild? Like, I wonder what would happen. I wonder what would happen if there was, maybe not even like that much, maybe 200 LP. So that way it's like 5 ISK per LP, 5,000 or 500 ISK per LP, right? But there's like a cash out option. I can buy something from the LP store that I can literally just turn around and turn into ISK. Because I think that that's honestly the biggest problem. It's not that the LP store is good or bad. It's that the people that are participating in it, generally speaking, need a simpler way of making that turn into money. And not like, it's like, congratulations, you need a frigate to make LP and a marketing and a market degree to know how to spend it effectively and get rid of it all, right? I feel like there should be some other agency drugs is another good example. Like the Concord, the DEDLP store came out with agency drugs. What if they put yeah, that's another good one. What if we just took some of the old DED things? What if you could get Eden Com ammo from faction warfare LP stores, right? Is LP stuff can be sold, right? Yes, but here's the thing. Most of the LP stuff that, especially the stuff that sells, requires money to get them, right? I've been given a free Atron. I've been playing this game for less than a week. I've got maybe 1 million or a few million to my name. I just got 50,000 LP. I just finished a battlefield. Oh my God, I've got 150,000 LP. This is amazing. Oh wait, I need to be able to like build a ship for this one, or have a ship and a chip for this one. I need to have ammo for this one. I've got to have these blue, these dog tags for this one. Like that's what I'm saying. Like there needs to be a more accessible way to turn your effort in faction warfare to just straight up wealth. And the reason why I'm tiptoeing around this is because I don't want it to. The tags are a huge wall. Yeah. You know, oh my God. What if, I think that they should have put the tags, I think faction campaigns should drop tags. I mean, obviously the mercs don't have the tags, but what if like the salvage sites and everything like that had tags in them? Right? That could work. Especially the ones that are in the faction warfare systems. Why not simply selling LP stuff to high-sec buyback? It's easy. I guess that's true. I feel like okay, I'll put it this way. I feel like the LP system hinges on the fact that people can't actually extract the actual wealth that it says that they have. I think that it's a run on the bank scenario. I think that everyone knows it, that if any of the bigger, like if you have any amount of LP, any attempt to actually liquidate it will cause disproportionate effects on the thing that you're doing, and therefore it's always more complicated than the one thing. High sec buyback may make this better, but again, people don't necessarily want to just accept 80%. I like that as actually as a response to what I was just saying. It is a fair argument as to why CCP doesn't need to make a cash out mechanism. But do you still see what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there should be either with like promotions. The fact that it's 100% LP seems to continue to make a little bit of a problem. Made medals to be bought with LP. I would spend LP on titles and medals 100,000%. Yeah, and skins, especially skins that only I can have because I unlocked it. Or why are we not? Here's the thing: I can choose which one of my you've got the UI. Why can't I choose to show my corporation or my faction in place of my corporation or alliance, right? Why can't I buy faction logos? Why can't I display my rank? Why can't I buy from the LP store the ability to display my rank on a specific ship in the same way that I can buy a one from the Paragon station, right? Wouldn't that be cool? Oh my God, I would absolutely. I would have the Aeron Robotics logo in the front and my rank on the side, and to that I would go into battle. Like, that would be awesome. Yes, exactly. Yeah, now we're talking. I currently use macaroni noodles to make your own medals. Oh, man. Medals, I feel like medals are a good thing because, like, deep down inside, people probably care about, a lot of people probably care about them a lot more than they are because they stay there, right? Like, you know, it's like a photo album. You know, nobody necessarily cherishes their photo album as they're making it, but like, look, you open it up later on and you're like, oh man, these are cool. Ranks the status as you parade uniform and all medals on. Yeah. I've also been playing a lot of No Man's Sky, so I want Gallente engine trails, you know? I want it all. And Snake Hat. Yeah, recognition of achievements. And of participation, right? Like, I think that they have done some of this where they do give out medals for these kinds of events, like faction campaigns and stuff like that. I think that that's what they should have done. Oh my God, that's what they should have done. That's what they needed to have done. There needed to be medium-sized personal goals. Earn this many points in 1 week. Right? You know, cross this many thresholds of this kind of site. There needed to be like one-off check-off objectives along with the general progression, because there's just the 3 tasks and you just do them. Basically, the tasks just kind of fade off into the background and you just keep doing stuff. But like, what if there was like a series of different medals or things that you could get for completing some sort of meta goal for you. You get it once, right? That way you can also do other things like, what if you could then reward the first turn-in double? Now, people might game that, but whatever. Emergent gameplay. Faction police skins should be on the LP store? I don't know, but I think that's why I was saying, like, I think that the faction skins, the faction navy skins should be on the police, the stores. Or better yet, there should be a new line of militia skins, right? Because the FDU is not the Federation Navy. Yeah, like an air career program for faction warfare. Well, no, I'm talking about an air career program, but for Shadow War. And you can't get the highest achievement for all Empire of Militias? I mean, if there was an achievement system in EVE Online, wouldn't there have to be an achievement called Betrayer, where you go, like, gain top rank with one empire and then gain top rank with another empire? I could see that happening. more importantly, if you did that, wouldn't you want something to say that you did it? So that way you could point to it and be like, haha, I did this. I have people that I know that have fairly good ranks with both teams, and let me tell you, they're proud of it. I think Air Career Program has an empty slot now? Empty slot? Well, that's the thing. I want to see them adding things to things, because that would be the best way for CCP to continually make people feel like things are alive. And I don't mean that in like a lore point of view. I'm talking about like from a game design point of view. Like, let's look at the Federation. Here's a great example, actually. Here's an amazing example, right? The Frontlines page. They came out with the Frontlines page, and like it was cool and all that you can, oh yeah, cool, we can see the map. It's not going to do it because I have it shrunk. Hold on. You know, oh look, we can see the map live. That's really cool. Like, this is cool. This was a cool thing that they did. But the thing is that like this was like everybody went cool and it moved on. And I was starting to get to the point where I was like, man, they really need to put like the Frontlines website somewhere, because like CCP does have this kind of habit of like creating these web tools like this and then just kind of forgetting about them. So I was concerned about where this was going to go next, right? So then, but with this event, we get these. We get this. It's a little thing, but you know what? It's just another thing that brought me back to this Frontlines page, which does two things. One, it teaches newer, you know, the next wave of people, a whole new batch of people, that this page exists, which has other uses. And everything that's added to this page will only compound that fact. But also, it convinces people like me that this page is going to be updated, that it's worth keeping an eye on. This is no longer a curiosity. This is now a tool. I've actually found myself referring to this page more often than our player tools sometimes, because that idea of like, oh, well, this is just where I go to get the information. And the idea that this is something that they're committed to, they're updating, then I can commit to it. I can, you know, have this be part of my routine. Does that make sense? So that's what I mean by like, even if they added like, here's the thing, in the air career agents or in the activity tracker, either one, there should be a thing that teaches you about the event, right? There should, just like all of the other ones have these career agents, and that could be where the videos go, right? There should be a little mini air career program path for just the event to give you guys something to do and maybe put a skin at the end, right? Right? And I know that this is asking for a lot, but like the reason why this is important is because honestly, these are the kind of things that will like take it to like the next level. This is the kind of polish that actually makes it really popular and like draw people in, I think. Yeah, you can go in and lose your suspect timer. I don't necessarily agree that that's a problem. But as I've said earlier, I think that it would be better to make it so that the suspect flag basically is 3 seconds long, refreshes every second, and so that way when you warp off, it goes away. But it stays on as long as you're in it. There is actually rewards tied to militia rank. You get when you get promoted, you get a huge faction boost. But again, like a lot of people don't even notice these things because they don't make any big deal about it. If CCP doesn't make a big deal about it, why would anybody even know about it, let alone care? Like, the game has to care about itself, right? Like, we have this jaded, you know, we've had this jaded player base for a long time, and there's always been this kind of sandboxy, raw kind of population. But, like, if you want people to geek out about your game has to believe in itself, right? If these factions are going to be something that we buy into, these factions have to present themselves with confidence. You know, they have to be banners to fall under. We already have a bunch of stuff with, you know, with Celis Agard and people falling behind that and whatnot. We have some controversies involving Mr. Serdan Serkosh, but like you have us so close to hooked. The illusion is there. But I fear that they will start fresh next year and build new things without integrating the old stuff. For example, air career program, skilling spree, they feel so detached. Yeah, the activity tracker was definitely like something that was kind of made and sort of abandoned. It was like kind of like the problem here is that a lot of these sorts of features are often not big efforts, but are like part of a single developer or developer team's like side project, right? So like the activity tracker came from the fact that CCP was working on new ways of reading metrics. And so the activity tracker like was like the front end of that new system. But like once that was made, there wasn't any love for it whatsoever by the player base, and so they never really dealt with it. And so then by the time it was to come to the air career program, I'm sure that they looked at the achievement or the activity tracker and realized that this just was not going to, not only is it not going to be sufficient for what they needed, but they probably it would be too much of a development effort to integrate the two. So of course, you know, put them side by side. I don't like it. I hate it. I hate feature creep, or not feature creep, accretion, feature accretion. I think that's the word. I think that Eve has done a great job at avoiding that for a long time, but this is a good example of it being in our face. But yeah, isn't that everyone can have their own goal? For someone, end goal has to be more than just making ISK. I like to remind people, like, there was once a reason why you wanted to earn ISK. There is a thing that you wanted to do or have that you wanted that ISK for. Like, ISK can be the end to itself in and of itself, but like ISK is primarily a means to an end. From my point of view, they can remove the activity tracker. It might be, I mean, like, I'd much rather see them replace it or like add it, rebuild it into the air career program or whatever. I agree that it's weird to have them be vestigial and disconnected. However, the problem is that there are still people, I'm sure there's plenty of holdouts that love their activity tracker. So if you remove it, you know, they remove you remove anything and the player base will never let it down, right? Jukebox, captain's quarters, in-game browser, right? Like, you don't get to just remove, one does not simply remove a feature from EVE Online and get away with it. I'm just happy that the Buster emblems are in game. I am too. Yeah. But yeah, back to the LP store thing. I think that it's time. Honestly, I don't even think that I necessarily want any one thing in the LP store. I want that to see them experiment with things like the LP store, right? What happens if they put like a sale on certain items? Maybe for next week, these things are cheaper, or like there's something available. Like, give them FOMO, fuck it, right? Like, you can buy these skins on the LP store at this time, whatever, right? Like, not all of them are going to be good, but like, I think that we're at the point that we need to experiment, because I keep coming back to the fact that the thing that I feel is still missing is this sense of feedback. A good example of this is the fact that a lot of people are finishing the Air MPE and then it says, like, we'll get back to you later, but the later hasn't been built yet. So people are like, when are they going to get back to me? You know, those of us are pointing at the Svarog and going at the encrypted, Semiosis console. And again, like, I think that they're building up towards something. They've set a lot of tone, so it could very well be that this all kind of pays off in the end. But at the same time, I doubt, like, everything's going to pay off in the end. There's no way that every single tinfoil, every single thing, all is actually being, you know, some sort of grand thing. Cleaner LP store UI with more rewards. I do agree that probably the LP store revamp would be the next, like, big thing, right? Because Great, you got everybody to like faction warfare, but now you've got this pain point, which is the reward system. You got people wanting to earn the rewards, but now it's like tricky. Yeah, I feel like that might be the thing to target for sure. But I can't stress enough, I want like short-term recognitions, or recognitions for short-term efforts, preferably automated. Like, in other words, when a system falls or whatever, there's a notice that goes out to people. Let Gallente buy all faction drones in the LP store. That's awesome. How about an idea? Let's make the Gallente ships like half as desirable as the Caldari Navy ships. That'd be cool. That'd be awesome. I need one person to be able to tell me. I need one person to look me in the eyes and tell me that the Moros Navy issue is good in their opinion, and not be joking. I need that to happen once. That's all I ask. If that can happen once, then I might not feel as bad, unless they turn out to be insane. Wait, do you think Gallente Navy ships are bad? Navy Catalyst is amazing. Navy Vexor is amazing. Navy Executor is great. But the problem is that the Navy Phoenix is unbelievable. The Navy Ferox is really, really, really good. The Navy Griffin is very silly now. But, like, their LP store is remaining high in spite of the fact that they have, like, so much more LP. Which is really funny because, like, this is kind of what happened back when the VNI existed, right? Like, when everybody was using a VNI, RLP didn't ever go below 2K. I think Eve appeals to older players because we get attention span and know how to create our own fun. You know, it's funny because you say that. That is a way to play, Dajat. But I also, like, we actually have had a lot of newer players, like, in our alliance and stuff like that, that are showing interest and, like, they are building long-term goals, but the thing is that if you ask the question, what do I do now? In Eve, there's barely ever any answer, right? And that directionlessness does cause a lot of, especially newer people, younger generation, whatever, to not like it. But I'm not convinced of whether or not it's our, the game's fault or their fault, right? I'm not convinced that their rejection of a game that can give them any good argument as to why, like if you open up a book and it bores you in the first 30 seconds, it's not your fault as a reader that book doesn't know how to, that author doesn't know how to open a book, right? Like, I've thought this for a long time. The issue is that the people that are best suited for Eve are the people that are turned away from Eve because Eve doesn't meet them where they are. Eve is a game that is most rewarding when there's surrounding long-term goals, but the problem is that you got to get from here to there. And Eve is pretty good at that, honestly. It can be very good at that. Where it's like, I want to do this. Oh, but that requires this, which requires this, which requires this. A series of puzzles to solve. But Eve is bad at helping you understand what the solution to the puzzles are in any way. You can't feel clever. It still struggles to be a learnable game. There's just a series of pitfalls, some of which will punish you significantly if you don't do them right. But the point is that there needs to be something that people can do in the meantime, right? I don't know how to do T2 reactions, but if I can just crank out these frigates, I know that that's good, and this is something in my mastery while I get time to become comfortable with everything that's going on, right? Long-term goals come from people who actually understand what to do and what's going on in order to build those goals, right? You can't expect somebody who just joined the game within the last 10 days or something to have a long-term goal. Any long-term goal a new player has that's like that new is going to be a bullshit goal. It's going to be something like, I want to be the next Goon Swarm. I wanted to have a Titan. I want to, like, these are not, like, people should be told your goal is to learn the game. Then, once you're comfortable with learning the game, experiment with it, break it, fly dangerous, be an alpha, go have fun, do different things, roll different characters. Who gives a shit? And then once you feel like you understand it, thank you, Dajat Lemmont. But once you feel like you understand it, then inevitably in that process, a goal will emerge, right? I don't need you to have a long-term goal to beat the Abyss. I just need you to know that you can go into the Abyss with a Kestrel, and it'll help you learn how to fly, and it'll punish what you did wrong, and when you're done with that, you'll be able to make tons of money. And you're going to be like, cool, I can do that. I can make a 2 million Kestrel, and I'm going to go into the Abyss, and I'm going to get my ass kicked. Okay, great. Now I have a problem, and I need to get good enough to be able to do this. So I'm going to keep on doing this, and then I'm going to, step up to the Hawk, and now, oh, shoot, now I can do this, right? And then, but now I've done that. I've learned a little bit. I've taken the first step in. The next step is mine. Ready? I want to do a T6. Nobody told me that one, right? Nobody has to tell you that one. That's you. That's where you come in. So if we can just get people out there and doing the things, that's where goals come from. When a person who's interested in building doing an industry thing should just build a destroyer, not because they're going to sell it for a ton of money, but because they need to learn the process of building something. Figuring out what to build is the next thing. For now, you just need to know like how a building works, right? What good is the information if you don't know how to apply it? And just having somebody feed you answers isn't really playing the game. Air gives new players a great head start too, especially compared to what you got in 2004. It's true. Go to the ABs, become this veteran combat explorer. I don't know what that means. Jacob, you're gonna have to help me out with that one. Oh, classes. Oh. Well, yeah, I mean, I've said I'd like to see more progression. Like I'd like to see missions give out random modules. Or more, or better yet, you could even do something like Final Fantasy XIV where like it gives you an option of 3. So that way you could like continually build up your stuff. Maybe instead of LP, it just literally just lets you buy one of the things from the LP store. Like Faction Warfare with their LP can buy whatever they want. But if you're doing missions, then it's like, here's a module, whatever. And then like, you could even do it, heaven forbid, you do like loot boxes, right? And then like, oh, it's a green one. Ba-da! You get a faction one. I feel like there could be like, there needs to be a sense that I'm doing one thing over another besides just its raw ISK value. That by doing this thing, I can continue to do like feel like I'm growing into something without necessarily just having to now liquidate that to get something else. That's why I like Faction Warfare, right? Because it's like you get your LP and you use that LP to upgrade your ships and to build your better ships. There's a natural like flow. I want my own LP for something. It makes me better. And I can also sell it. So now I'm getting used to buying things with it. I'm used to building things with it. It just becomes a more natural thing. It's something I'm comfortable with. It's not something scary that I don't know what to do with because I've never done it really before. Or, I have 1 million LP and there's no way that I'm ever going to be able to liquidate it. So it's just like my ADHD brain like seizes up and I never spend any of it. That's definitely not why I have 7 million LP. That is definitely not why I have 7 million. Anyway, I found myself using the agency more and more to find things. I agree. And everything that can bring you back to the agency is a winner in my book. Spamming project discovery is often the most ISK per hour that they can make and key that can potentially open some more doors. They should make more daily tasks. And, I feel like if you max out the first day you max out your project discovery, maybe you get a bonus. But I think that there should be a daily task, like submit 5 project discovery entries in the same way of like the Abyss tasks and all these other ones. Like The problem with those daily tasks is that they don't teach you anything besides the Abyss, like that the Abyss exists, right? The mining task, it's like, oh, well, I already knew that mining exists and I already have like low level of it. The killing one, okay, well, I know that combat exists and how it works more or less. I'm not going to learn anything from it because I'm not going to do anything new. I'm just going to do the safe thing that I know. But if something shows up that says submit 10 samples in Project Discovery, wait, what's Project Discovery? You see what I'm saying? Like, we gotta throw people curveballs every once in a while. There's enough different things to introduce people to. We can't just leave them all to be hidden features that never get breadcrumbed in. Kill one NPC is too boring for a daily. The point is, honestly, the kill one NPC it's not even about being boring. The problem is that killing 10 NPCs is boring too, because like, what if you only get 7? Now you gotta find more. Killing one NPC is literally just like, the reason why it's good is because it's so simple. Like, you can't even contest that it's a hard thing to do, right? But it belies something that is really magical about EVE Online, which is that, like, when we conceptualize something in our head, it's very, you know, systematic, robotic, predictable, formulaic. But the real world is very different. And as it turns out, just getting somebody to undock and go and kill one rat and come back in, sure, 9 times out of 10, it may be completely nothing. But that 10% of the time, it leads to a thing. Who knows how big of a thing or how small of a thing? Like, that's the problem with a game that relies on emergent gameplay. You kind of just need this giant churn of gameplay to make those things happen. You know? Also, randomize the dailies across tunes. If I log into one character and I go, I don't like that, I currently not know to log into the rest. I'll do you one better. If they're going to be doing this, they should be able to make it like you should get 1 veto a day, right? Increase the number of tasks that it can be. And then whatever it is, you can say no once per day, and it refreshes it, and it can't be that one again. Whatever the second one is, that's the one you're locked with. I think that's fine. I think that part of the thing is, like, also, it would be, you know, it'd be cool if you're going to do everybody, then it would be cool if there would be somehow a way to do it, make it a collective thing, right? The whole, like, a player, let me try to see if I can think about what I'm trying to say here. I want a goal that, like, allows me to cooperate, like, I'm incentivized to cooperate with other people to complete, right? And if you're going to give everyone the same goal, then that's what makes sense, right? If everybody has a random goal, then they don't mesh, right? If everybody today has a goal to complete a level 3 mission, then people will potentially team up to get as many people done with a level 3 mission as possible. People will offer to let somebody in nullsec join your fleet, and as you run a mission, and then you complete the mission and they get credit. Right? Like, make a problem that people can solve collectively in order to over clever it. I think that would be a good idea too. Or just have them be totally randomized. You know, if everybody's going to be locked into the same thing, make the fact that they're all the same thing mean something by having it, you know, be something that you would be encouraged to do as a group. Again, even if it's just as simple as cheating the system, right? Getting 10 people to finish the mission at once instead of 1. Hold on one second. I don't know why. I don't know why my Amazon thingy in the other room just started to play music. I feel like this happened before, and I need to figure out why. If there's more than one daily task, the next one scaling in time and engagement required, it could be cool if there's, like, nested. I do feel like it would even be better. Actually, I think that it'd be better if dailies escalated. right? Day 1, you get kill 1. Day 2, you get kill 5. Day 10 or day 3, you get to kill 10. Every day past 3 in a row, you get kill 25. Okay, hold on. Is that not my... I gotta... whatever. Or get a kill while in a fleet. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that, like, it's totally okay if people can game it. It turns out that's totally fine. Let people feel smart about it. The point is to breadcrumb people into a direction. If you tell people to do it in a fleet, even if they could just totally cheese the system, they will use it as an excuse to form a fleet and do missions together. I know this because that's what we do. So, yeah. We're almost there, guys. Additional feedback, additional direction. As I've said before, direction's important not because we need to be told what to do, but we need to be told what we could do, right? It's not freedom if there's nothing at all, right? The freedom to do nothing isn't freedom. But if they tell me, oh, go help the thing to do right now is these sites, I now decide whether or not I want to do the sites, not do the sites, kill people that do the sites, buy stuff from the sites, profiteer from the sites. All that happens if and only if there are sites to trigger all of this. The sites aren't important, right? Doesn't that make sense? The sites aren't the thing. The thing is having the thing happening. Things happening, events, lore, updates, all these things. Like, they're useful because they give you something to work with. They give groups things to rally around. They get things to discuss. And I think that's my final thought for the day. So, before I have to, like, dismantle some of my other electronics, I will say that I have been Ashtarothi. I've been playing this game since 2010, talking about it since 2012, and I'm here to put even the context for you, my fellow Empyreans. Thank you guys for checking out this day of rants. Day of discussions. It has been pretty cool. If you have any comments, thoughts, ideas, if you think I'm wrong, all I ask is that you give me a good argument, and I would be more than happy. I love people to help me understand another perspective. So be all that happening. But yeah, I hopefully will be back on Thursday. We'll have stuff hopefully to talk about from the live test or whatever else is happening. It's very distracting to hear the thing in the other room. I don't know whether or not you guys can hear it. Shoot, I had other things to talk about. There's merch. Merch is cool. 07 pod. It's awesome. Join the convocation. Use the buddy code. I was going to show off my game again, but now I got to go to the bathroom really, really bad. So I'd rather do that. Dutch, thank you. This Saturday, 1200 Eve, Dodixie, we will be going into Pochvin in order to do dual standings fleets. So what you got to do is just contact Dutch Gunner if you want to. We will be... awesome, Dajat. Yeah, hey. 1900 Eve time, Dodixie. Sorry. And we go in there, and we run some sites, and you gain standings with the Triglavians. You might get ISK, whatever. Make sure you get with Dutch Gunner, and you look at his workbench for the qualifying builds. Don't just bring whatever the hell you want. If you can't build one of the builds, that's fine. We can work out like a destroyer or something for you to bring. But the point is that everybody can get their standings up, so that way both the Trig and the Edencom either leave you alone, or better yet, help you out when you're mining in belts. PSA! The Edencom are now warping to Athenors. I have been moon mining for the last several months, every week, with one of my two characters, both of which are anti-Edencom. And this Sunday, the Edencom warped in twice to one of our Athenors and warped into the other Athenor, and I literally almost lost my Orca. I was it was a 50-50 decision. They scrammed my drone instead of my Orca, and that is the only reason why I got off. So, don't be like me. Don't think that it's safe to mine in Athenors. Get your standings fixed. This goes, I assume that this goes for the Triglavians as well. Just go ahead and get your standings fixed once and for all. especially as we move forward with these kind of the faction campaigns and stuff like that. You guys talk about flexibility, power, all that sort of stuff. Getting your standings fixed is a great way to unlock so many options. You don't need to worry about Edencom systems or Triglavian systems or any of those kinds of things because you're friends with them all. And also, Dutch Gunner's a really cool guy. You know, he's cool to hang out with. So, hope to see you guys then. But without further ado, I want to say thank you to all of you and my top tier supporters, including Abyssus, Aikawarazu Chan, Arydanika the Queen, Belligerent Neckbeard, BlackRoseNoble, Dajat Lemmont, Drake, Golden Age Stories, J. Kuhn, LM1, Lumi, Malak Starfire, Midnight Space Monkey, Not Just Fun, Seeds of Plenty, Serena with No Eyes, Syliana Vel'ash, Tgen Tgen, Nephilim, or Nephilim. Is that Nephilim or Nihilum? Now I don't know. No, because Nihilim's down there. Nephilim, Grendel, Yantey Lepouf, Zaul Nex, as well as my top tier supporters, 745 NPSI, Eboleet, May, Merc Utan, Nihilum, and Rid. Thank you guys so much for making this all possible for me. And make sure to thank them yourselves. Oh yeah, and if you don't have access to the supporter channel yet, when you're supposed to, either through member or Patreon, make sure to DM me. I've been helping people out, getting it sorted. Should be good. Yeah, but until next time, I've been Ashrothi. We also have a new credits thing. I have no idea how good it's going to be, so we get to find out together. Until next time, I'll see you in space. There it is.
Bring on the wrecking machine.
Credits in. I'm gonna try again later. Thank you, Alexander. Welcome to the membership. Please comment the video, like it, especially after when it goes back to when it's done. It helps. Also, all the other videos.
For every city